Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Martin. The title of this presentation is Cyberbullying, and it is presented to Comanche Middle School staff. We'll begin this presentation with a definition of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is defined as repeated use of technology to harass, humiliate, or threaten. Expanding on this definition, it is using a technological device to create online rumors, say mean concepts, screenshot and send private conversations, or make harmful threats. Technological devices refer to cell phones, iPads, tablets, or computers. Cyberbullying prevention. The first step in preventing cyberbullying or bullying of any kind is to create a positive and safe environment. Communicate with your students about their online activity. Create an anonymous reporting procedure for your classroom, specific to your classroom, so that students feel safe in reporting instances where they have either viewed or experienced bullying or cyberbullying. Establish positive relationships with all of your students. Discuss bullying and cyberbullying with your students. You can have your students reference their student handbook and read about the cyberbullying policies in that handbook, which would open the floor for discussion about cyberbullying. Facts about cyberbullying. The most common platform for cyberbullying is Instagram, followed by Facebook as the second most common platform. Most common types of cyberbullying comments are sexual remarks, which account for 12.1%. Online rumors account for 20.1%, and then just mean comments accounts for 22.5%. 45.3% accounts for the other types of cyberbullying comments. Reasons for bullying. The most utilized reason for bullying is that of appearance. Next is intelligence and academics. That's about 25% of the cause for the bullying. Race is 17%. Sexuality is 15%. Financial status is 15%, and religion is 11%, with 20% as the cause for the bullying's occurrence. Legislation. 49 states have legislation preventing bullying. JS versus Bethlehem Area School District. So this states that schools have authority to expel students due to the negative impact on targets, in this case staff. So staff were threatened via technology, and the student was expelled, and due to the negative impact on the staff, the courts deemed that the expulsion was appropriate. Kowalski versus Berkeley County Schools. This was a webpage created about a student resulted in 5-day suspension for violating the harassment policy within the handbook. Emmett versus Kent School District number 415. So this is where a student was expelled, but the expulsion was reduced to suspension because the school was unable to prove that harassment had actually occurred. JS versus Blue Mountain District, 2011. Suspension was eliminated for girls that created a fake web page of the principal because no substantial disruption had occurred. So these girls had initially been suspended from school for their creation of a fake web page of the principal, but that suspension was eliminated because the courts ruled that no substantial disruption to the school environment had occurred. Zeno versus Pine Plains Central School District, 2012. So this is where a student was awarded, this is a court case where a student was awarded $1 million because the school had not adequately addressed the bullying of the particular student. And California's Second Appellate District, This stated that threats against a student are not protected free speech, and they are subject to lawsuit against student, parents, and school. Oftentimes, free speech is referenced in regards to harassment and a lot of these cyberbullying cases, but based off this decision, threats do not constitute free speech. Action for schools. So due to the increase in access to technology, schools must respond to behaviors that are occurring off campus, such as cyberbullying. So schools' main concern with cyberbullying is school safety, not free speech. So just because free speech is awarded in our constitutional rights, at the end of the day, the school's main priority is school safety. Cyberbullying has increased over 4% in the last 6 years for daily occurrence, according to principals. So these are principals that were surveyed in both 2010 and 2016. And the results for the survey indicate that there's been a 4% increase in the last 6 years for daily occurrence of cyberbullying behavior. There's been an increase in 5% for monthly occurrence ratings, an increase of 9% for occasional occurrence ratings, and there has been a decrease of 18% for schools that reported that bullying never occurred. So 18% less schools reported never having bullying situations than were reported in 2010. Punishment and other deterrent methods do not always work. One of the reasons for that is that the bully will just find an alternative method to bully the victim. Good on-campus relationships aid in deterring bullying. So students are less likely to participate in bullying others if they have good relationships at school. Deterrence relying on consequences requires rational minds, which have not developed in students yet. So what this is referring to is when our policies are too heavy on zero tolerance or deterring based off the severity of the consequences, we're relying on students to have a rational mind to outweigh consequences before they're participating in a specific behavior. We can't do that because these students have not quite developed rational minds yet. So deterrence should not rely on consequences. Effective policy principles. In order for an anti-bullying, cyberbullying policy to be effective, it is recommended to contain the following. Explicit definition of terms. So these terms are harassment, intimidation, explicit definitions of technology. So what constitutes technology? And then also bullying and cyberbullying definitions. Next is graduated consequences. And this basically means that the consequences increase in severity the more times the behavior is elicited. So if a student has been caught bullying, cyberbullying 3 times, the third offense should have harsher consequences than the first offense. This anti-bullying policy should also have procedures for reporting and investigating the cyberbullying. It should also have off-campus bullying clauses, so to take into account cyberbullying that is occurring at home, but it's still adversely affecting students that are members of the school. And it should also include procedures for preventing bullying. We must all remember that it is our responsibility to stop bullying and cyberbullying. And these are my references, and thank you very much.